Welcome to Corvette Today, the podcast that talks about everything Corvette, with your host Steve Garrett, MC and DJ at one of the largest Corvette weekends in the country, Corvette Fun Fest, president of the Corvette Club of Kansas City, Missouri, and radio disc jockey at the #1 radio station in Kansas City for over 40 years. Here's Steve Garrett.
Thanks for listening to Corvette Today, the podcast that talks about everything Corvette. Brought to you by Mid-America Motorworks. Car show season is here. Get your Corvette ready by shopping over 60,000 Corvette-specific parts and accessories at mamotorworks.com. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. I appreciate you tuning in. You can listen to Corvette Today on all podcast platforms. You can also listen on your smart device. Just say Alexa or Hey Google, play the podcast called Corvette Today, and you're connected. Also, visit the Corvette Today website. It's CorvetteTodayPodcast.com. And while you're there, make sure you visit the Corvette Today merchandise store. You can also sign up for Corvette Today emails, notifications, and updates at corvettetoday.ck.page. And don't forget, join the Corvette Today Facebook group. We have over 3,600 members, and I'd love to have you as a member as well. And don't forget about the YouTube channel now for Corvette Today. See all your favorite Corvette Today podcasts now on YouTube. First, I'd like to thank our flagship sponsors of Corvette Today, Aerolarri Wheels, a true forged wheel with over 20 unique design styles to choose from for your C8 and wide-body versions of the C7, C6, and C5 Corvette. It's an absurd value starting at only $19.88 for a set of 4 fully forged wheels. And now use the new promo code CT111. That's CT111 and get $100 off your purchase. Visit aerolarri.com. That's AEROLARRI.com with the new promo code CT111 for your $100 discount. Also, midenginecorvetteforum.com, the forum that focuses on the new mid-engine C8 Corvette. Meet a lot of fellow Corvette enthusiasts like yourself at midenginecorvetteforum.com. Also, a shout out to CanadianCorvetteForum.com, welcoming Corvette owners from around the world. The 35th annual Dana Mecum Spring Classic is ready to go. It's a huge auction that spans 8 days. And who better to get us the inside scoop on the show? None other than my great friend and insider for Corvette Today, Mr. John Kraman, the TV host of Mecum Auctions. John, welcome back to Corvette Today. It's great to have you back on the show and getting us all psyched up for Indy.
Oh, man, Steve, always love coming on to talk Corvettes and Mecum Auction, two of my favorite topics.
That's absolutely right, buddy. Well, John, give us some background on this show coming up in Indianapolis, because this is one of the crown jewels of the Mecum Auctions every single year.
Yeah, well said, Steve. Really, it is the granddaddy of Mecum Auctions. It all started with Dana Mecum's original Spring Classic way back in 1988. It was the very first Mecum auction ever, at that time held at the Greater Rockford, Illinois airport, of all places.
Wow.
We moved it to Indianapolis to the State Fairgrounds back in 2008, and that is our new home now. I got on board with Mecum in 2006, and Dana sat down and told me when I got brought in to help with the consignment department that he said, John, I want to take this company and turn it into the world's largest collector car auction company. And man, he's a visionary, because we have accomplished that.
Absolutely.
So needless to say, very proud not only to be a part of Mecum, but to be able to do this. Is a big celebration. 35 years, Dana Mecum still going strong, in charge with his 4 sons, also very heavily involved in the management of the company. It is going to be a barn burner. And let me tell you what bar that we have, that we're going to, very high bar has been raised. Last year at the auction was the 34th annual. We did a whopping $107.8 million in the sale of collector vehicles. We are expected to exceed that this year, and with the lineup that we have, I would not be surprised if we crack that.
That's absolutely incredible, buddy. Has the Summer Classic always been in Indianapolis or Indiana?
No, 2008 was the debut in Indiana, and I will tell you that since that move, that caused a big spike in attendance, simply because of the central location of that auction. And I have to give some credit to the Indiana State Fairgrounds for a great facility as well. It's not all about picking, well, gee, we'd like to have an auction here and wiggle our nose, and have a facility that can accommodate the immense size of what we do. And so it was really sort of the perfect location for us, that it's convenient for virtually anybody to get to. It's literally in the middle of the country, and we have a great facility and a great partner with not only the state, but the local folks as well. Everybody working in concert to put these things together. Man, we've got about 350 people that we have to bring in to do this auction. We're there a full month. Now, keep in mind, we have 16 auctions on our schedule, so a lot of eggs go into this specific auction. But because of the legacy of this event, it draws so many great cars, so many great collections, and so many attendees, buyers and sellers, and spectators as well. And that's one thing that I want to make the point clear for anybody that's listening. You don't have to be a buyer or seller to enjoy the action. Look at the cars at a Mecum auction. Buy your tickets in advance. Spectator tickets, $20 online, $30 at the door. It's the best automotive attendance bargain on the planet.
Absolutely right. Now, John, give us exact dates and times for this show.
Yeah, May 13th through the 21st, and that is at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Gates will open every day at 8 a.m. The first car will hit the block about 10 o'clock every day. We'll go till the last car. There's no end set time, but it usually will run between 6 and 8 o'clock. In addition to cars, we will have a huge selection of companion items, what we call road art auction starters before the cars roll, and that gives somebody a chance. You want to spend a couple $100 on a tin sign, you can do that if you're not there to buy a car. Access everywhere. I mean, the cars and the auction arena, everything is accessible to the public as well. Nothing is off limits, and it's a great way to spend a day. As I tell people all the time, be sure to wear comfortable shoes because there's a lot of ground to cover. Acres and acres and acres.
That's amazing, buddy. That's simply amazing. Now, overall, how many cars do you think are going to be crossing the block there at the Spring Classic?
Well, we've set a target, and it's aggressive, at 3,000 vehicles. That is a lot of cars. Last year, as an example, we had just a little under 2,100. But I will give you some breaking news, insider information. As of this morning, we are at around 2,700 entries. So we have already exceeded last year's record of almost 2,100 entries, and we're literally knocking at the door of that 3,000 entries. I'm going to stick my neck out and say we're going to hit 3,000.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Now, out of those 2,700 or that 3,000 target mark, how many Corvettes are going to be sold at the show?
Well, that is a really good question, Steve, because I'm so proud as a lifelong Corvette fanatic, just like you are, that Corvettes continue to be, as far as make and model, the number one most popular entries at a Mecum auction. In other words, there's a higher percentage of Corvettes for sale at a Mecum auction than any other single specific make and model. Typically, they represent in the 8 to 10% of all of the total inventory at a Mecum auction, and we will have driver quality Corvettes. We'll have mods. We'll have investment grade showstoppers from $10,000 to $1 million plus. And of course, all 8 Corvette generations will be very, very well represented, which is fairly typical for a Mecum auction. Going back to the early days, not only a Mecum auction, but Dana Mecum's own personal interest. He's been a Corvette guy since birth as well, and actually had a vintage Corvette dealership prior to starting Mecum auctions back in 1988. So it's kind of woven into our DNA, and that's only continued as time has gone on. That's only continued to get stronger and stronger and build more interest. And I have to tell you, man, the introduction of the C8 Corvette has just exploded the interest and visibility of Corvettes of all generations. It has had no negative impact at all on the values. In fact, as we know, late model Corvettes, generation 5, 6, and 7 Corvettes are extremely valuable and popular right now. And, of course, the C8 obviously speaks for itself. We're going to have a lot of Corvettes at this auction.
Man, I tell you what, buddy, let's take a break real quick. And when we come back, let's talk more specifically about some of the Corvettes and some of the lots and some of the collections that are going to be there at the show. How's that sound?
Hey, that sounds great, Steve.
All right, buddy, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with John Kraman, the TV host of the Mecum Auctions, here on Corvette Today.
The Radiator Grill Store offers protection for your C8's front radiators and side intakes. They also carry front strut tower covers to prevent rusting and pooling water, all with do-it-yourself installation. Get 10% off your total purchase with promo code CT10. See the full line of products at radiatorgrillstore.com.
Mid-America Motorworks has been the industry leader and aftermarket supplier and manufacturer of Corvette replacement parts and accessories since 1974. We have what you need for all years and generations of Corvette. Whether you need a door panel or seat cover for your C1 Corvette, or the latest shirt, jacket, hat, or lifestyle accessory to complement your new C8, you can get it at Mid-America Motorworks. So if you're restoring, repairing, replacing, or simply researching your Corvette, Mid-America Motorworks is the place to go. Visit our website at mamotorworks.com and shop Corvettes by generation or specific year. Or call us Monday through Saturday toll-free at 800-500-1500 and talk to one of our Corvette experts to help you get the right part or accessory. Pursue your passion with Mid-America Motorworks.
VetteFinders.com is the Internet's original Corvette classified ads website, with classified ads starting at just $25, and every ad runs until your Corvette is sold. If you're in the market for a Corvette, VetteFinders.com has over 500 Corvettes for sale from all around the USA and Canada, and covering all 8 generations. Visit VetteFinders.com, the Internet's destination for buying and selling Corvettes. That's VETTE Finders.com.
You're listening to the Corvette Today podcast with Steve Garrett.
Hey, thanks for listening to Corvette Today, the podcast that talks about everything Corvette. Brought to you by Mid-America Motorworks. Car show season is here. Get your Corvette ready by shopping over 60,000 Corvette-specific parts and accessories at mamotorworks.com. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. With me is the legend, the master, the professor, as they call him on the show, Mr. John Kraman from the Mecum Television Auction. In segment number 2, we're going to talk about Corvettes specifically coming up at this Spring Classic. John, there's some cool Corvettes scheduled to sell at this show. Let's talk about a few of the notable Corvettes that caught your eye coming up at the Spring Classic.
Well, a couple of just incredible heavy hitters, Steve, that people may have heard of, urban legends, but maybe weren't sure that they were ever going to get a chance to see them. The first one is a 1965 Corvette referred to as the Mark IV Pilot Line convertible. Now, it's VIN number 3. That's pretty cool in itself. It's the first 1965 convertible off the production line, but that's not really the story. Wait till you hear this. As we know, 1965 was the first year for the big block Corvette 396, 425 horsepower. That engine replaced as the top dog the fuel-injected 375 horse 327 in 1965. And we know that in 66 they went to the 427, and of course the rest is history. But this particular car, this exact car, this Pilot Line car, was factory equipped with a 427 installed by GM Engineering, and it was sold after show car and test duty a year later at a dealership in Michigan with a 427 in it.
Wow.
So this is, you could say that not only was this the first 65 Corvette convertible, which in itself is kind of a neat footnote, but the fact that it's the first 427, even though it was not available as a production option. It's done in custom paint called Fire Mist Green. That was a 1964 Cadillac color. It saw show duty at the New York Auto Show, and it's got some really cool, unique badges on it. It's been restored by the Neighbor Brothers. That in itself should say quality all the way. And a car that a lot of us have heard of, rumored that this car still existed. It does. The restoration's only a few years old, and it's expected to fetch somewhere, are you ready for this, in the $1 million range. We call these high-end cars main attractions, and boy, is that one deserving of that name.
Wow, that's incredible. Now, John, I noticed that there's 2 ZR2 Corvette convertibles. What are the backstory on these 2 cars?
Right. Well, there were only 2 of the ZR2 convertibles built, period. And we'll get into that here in just a moment. We've got one of those cars. It's a 1971, 1 year only. That was, of course, the 454 cubic inch option, 425 horsepower, with many other modifications. It was basically sort of the evolution of the L88. 10 were built, 2 convertibles. We've got one of those 2 coming to the auction. It's Brands Hatch Green. There's that green color again. And it is tons of show accolades. Bloomington Gold Benchmark. It was Certified Survivor back in 2015. NCRS Top Flight back in 17. Matakan, Muscle Car and Corvette National. Triple Triple Diamond Award winner in 2011. That's the crown jewel of judging. Once again, we're looking at a 7-figure Corvette. Just when you think that you've seen it all and you expect that the L88 is sort of the top of the value food chain and the rarity and the desirability in the Generation 3 lineup, along comes one of 2 ZR2 convertibles. Gives a really good example, Steve, of where Mecum Auctions has positioned itself over the years, and that is just consistently attracting the absolute finest, rarest, most valuable investment-grade Corvettes on the planet, in addition to daily drivers and regular investment-grade cars. Just incredible to be a very small part of the promotion of some of these cars. We do promotional videos on them. I have to contain my excitement because these are cars that I grew up reading about in the various Corvette books, and here I've got a chance to actually be a little bit part of the eventual sale of these things. Very cool.
That's amazing. Something else that caught my eye, John, there is a Corvette pace car collection from Dr. Richard Foster coming across the block. Talk about this pace car collection, what it is, and how it's going to come across the block. More specifically, is it going to be all sold in one big block?
Yes, I'll give you the punchline right up front. This is an incredible collection. There are 18 Corvettes. Some of them are actual pace cars. Some were parade cars, festival cars.
Right.
And some are simply Corvette pace car additions that Chevrolet and Corvette have done over the years. What is unique, other than the fact that they all have a pace car connection to the Indianapolis 500, is all 18 of these Corvettes, Steve, are being offered as one lot. They will not be offered separately.
Oh.
It's going to take probably somewhere in the $1.5 million to $2 million price range to take home this collection, which of course begins with a 1978 Corvette Pace Car Edition, which was the first year a Corvette was ever used to pace the Indy 500, as we know.
Right.
And then significant examples all the way up literally to the present day. So you're going to need a big checkbook, and you're going to need a big garage or a big storage unit to house 18 of these if you're the winning bidder. They're going to be on display all together, and it's just going to be a real cool visual look and a nice history lesson of the evolution of the Corvette as the Indianapolis pace car.
I didn't realize that the whole thing is going to be sold. When you buy one, you get all 18 of them.
Exactly.
I thought that they were going to be broken up. That's amazing, John.
Yeah, that's a little bit outside of the box. I mean, it takes somebody obviously really special to go in and make a play for the whole group. If you want to build a pace car collection, it's going to save a lot of time. It's literally one-stop shopping. But it eliminates that thrill of the hunt, the chase of putting them all together, which is why I think Dr. Foster has decided to go ahead and keep them all together as a group. The Mecum Consignment Department has agreed with that strategy. A lot of promotion on that project going on as we speak, and a lot of buzz and a lot of early interest as well.
That's amazing. That's an instant collection for anybody that's going to stroke a check.
Right, exactly.
Buddy, I know that there's some other really significant cars and supercars that are not Corvettes that are coming across the block at the Spring Classic. Talk about some of the other significant cars, non-Corvette-wise, that are going to be there at the Spring Classic.
Well, what is, I think, really special about this auction, Steve, and this has been a bit of a trend for Mecum Auctions over the past 5 or 6 years, are collections. And as an example, as of today, 21 distinct and specific collections that span everything from vintage and late model exotics to muscle cars to trucks and SUVs and Broncos and a lot of 50s cars, pre-war classics, literally everything from A to Z. But there's one particular collection that really stands out. Once again, we're calling it a main attraction. And that's a name that I think we'll all probably recognize, and that's Ray Evernham. Ray, probably best known for his work as Jeff Gordon's crew chief during the glory years of Jeff Gordon's NASCAR championships. Ray is a NASCAR Hall of Famer. He's a former race team owner. He's a television personality. He's one of the most enthusiastic and knowledgeable car guys on the planet. Proud to call him a friend. 33 vehicles, actually 32 plus one engine, out of his personal collection are coming to Mecum Indy. Listen to this. All selling at no reserve.
Oof.
But here is the star. It's a 1965 Indy race car driven by Mario Andretti in his rookie year of 1965. He got his rookie qualification in this car. He won the IndyCar championship, not the race. He didn't do that till 69. Won the championship in 1965 and 1966 in this exact car. Ray found it, got all the pieces, put the car together. It's won every award it could possibly win. Other than an Indy race-winning car, it's probably one of the most historically significant Indy cars on the planet. In my opinion, being a huge Indy car fan, both vintage and contemporary, I follow it like crazy. The fact that that car's coming, it's selling at no reserve, along with all of his other vehicles. Once again, this is a real plum, really in the history of Mecum Auctions. I'm expecting that particular car to fetch maybe as much as $2 million,
Wow.
maybe possibly more.
That's amazing. I saw today, I got an email that there is a black 300 SL Gullwing Roadster coming to the auction as well.
Yep.
There's some other big cars coming to the show, obviously.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you mentioned the Mercedes-Benz, those 300 SLs, both in the Roadster, which in this particular case it's a 57, and the hardtops continue to escalate in value. Many folks consider this car, the Mercedes-Benz SL, the 300 SL, to be maybe the first of the collectible performance kind of supercars.
Mm-hmm.
The Lamborghini Miura from the 1960s kind of fits in that category as well. They've been valuable and they've been significant from the time that they were built, starting in 1954. And once again, Steve, this is a seven-figure plus car, probably somewhere in the 1.5, maybe to $1.8 million price range.
Wow.
What we may be setting ourselves up for is maybe the top 10 sellers at this auction, all of those to exceed $1 million. That would be really something to see that.
I just watch and I shake my head. It's just incredible, buddy. And I'm glad you brought up the collections too, because I know there's a bunch of collections coming in the Spring Classic. Can you talk about some of those other collections besides Dr. Foster's that'll be coming across the block?
Well, I do want to talk about one, Steve, and I hope I don't, and our Corvette faithful, I hope they don't click off the podcast. But yes, very important collection coming from Dr. Christian and his wife, Jennifer McCarter, out of the Denver area. Probably the best collection of high-performance Fords. Now, there is a Chevy in that group, and I'll hit on that just in a minute, but primarily high-performance Fords, including two real honest-to-goodness mid-60s Shelby Roadsters. One's a 289, one's a 427. The holy grail of all Shelby Mustangs, the GT350R. 34 production versions were made. We've got one of those coming as part of his group. By the way, all of these also selling at no reserve. But I got to tell you about this Camaro. I got to tell you about a Camaro that is almost unbelievable. 68, 396, 375 horsepower. That would have been the top regular production option engine available. It's a 4-speed butternut yellow. It has under 3,000 original miles. It's got ownership history documented from new, copies of titles from all the owners. It's a high-scoring car at various Camaro shows, 970 points out of 1,000 at the Camaro Nationals, 193 out of 200 at the Camaro Street Machine Nationals. It's a factory Positraction car. It's got the original window sticker. Expected to fetch, you ready for this, between $200,000 and $300,000 for what very well might be the finest low mileage 68 big block Camaro on the planet.
Incredible. That's amazing, buddy. That's amazing.
Yep.
I tell you what, John, let's take our final break. When we come back, we're going to wrap up things. We're going to talk about TV coverage here on Corvette Today.
Are you ready for a better insurance policy without the Corvette tax? With Agreed Value Protection, the value of your collector vehicle will never change. Plus, you'll save money. Get a quick quote at ncminsurance.com.
Yogi Berra once said, if you don't know where you're going, you'll probably end up there. At True Wealth & Company, we take that to heart. See, at True Wealth & Company, we believe your retirement lifestyle travels through two doors. Door number one, the blue door, gives you more options, financial freedom. Your money outlives you. Every happiness you wish for in life is through the blue door. Door number two, the red door, is where you outlive your money. You rely on family, friends, or even the state to take care of you. At True Wealth & Company, we're not just financial planners. The best way to walk through the blue door is to have a written plan. Make a work-optional lifestyle a reality with our proprietary True Life Map formula. Look towards your future with anticipation, not apprehension. Having a rock-solid fiduciary partner like True Wealth & Company is essential to effective financial planning. There's no winging it. There's nothing left to chance. Look, we don't want you to become another Yogi Berra-ism. Give us a call today at 913-653-TRUE. Visit us online at retirewithtrue.com. Start your financial independence and work-optional lifestyle today.
913-653-8783. Visit us online at retirewithtrue.com. Investment advice offered through True Wealth & Company, LLC, a registered investment advisor in the state of Kansas.
American Hydrocarbon is your one-stop shop for custom interior, exterior, and engine bay items for your C4 through C8 Corvette. We can help you create Create a custom look for your Corvette with carbon fiber or 10 different color patterns and styles. Whether it's a custom-made engine cover for your new C8 mid-engine Corvette or custom-made C4 interior upgrades, American Hydrocarbon can help you transform your Corvette into a best-in-class show car. And now we're proud to announce that we can produce and distribute officially licensed GM products for the C8 Corvette. That includes the front splitter, side skirts, engine appearance panels, and engine fluid caps. Plus, we now also carry the C8 Speedline side skirts along with the engine appearance package and high wing. Our products have been featured in Vette and Corvette magazines. Give us a call, 813-476-5638. Visit our updated website at AmericanHydrocarbon.com or email us at pat@AmericanHydrocarbon.com. Let us help you make your Corvette the car you've always wanted it to be. American Hydrocarbon.
Stretch the life of your Corvette's paint with Nova Stretch, the performance protective cover. From bugs to rock chips, Nova Stretch covers protect your C5 through C8 Corvette, utilizing stretch fabric technology and an innovative fastening system for quick installation and easy removal and storage. Made in the USA for a tailored fit, the patented design and breathable mesh protects your Corvette without rubbing or chafing the paint like traditional covers. And unlike clear film or old-time car bras, Nova Stretch provides full front-end coverage including the grille, keeping radiators and heat exchangers clean and debris-free. Visit novastretch.com and use the code Corvette Today 15 to get 15% off your order. Protect your Corvette with Nova Stretch.
And now, back to Corvette Today with your host and my husband, Steve Garrett.
Hey, thanks for listening and viewing Corvette Today, the podcast that talks about everything Corvette. Brought to you by Mid-America Motorworks. Car show season is here. Get your Corvette ready by shopping over 60,000 Corvette-specific parts and accessories at mamotorworks.com. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. With me is John Kraman, the TV host of the Mecum Auction. We're talking about the big spring classic coming up in Indianapolis. In this third and final segment, we're going to kind of wrap things up here. John, once again, give us the dates and the times for the show here in Indianapolis.
Steve, this is Dana Mecum's 35th Original Spring Classic, Indianapolis, Indiana, at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. It's going to run May 13th through the 21st, and we have set a target of 3,000 entries. We are very close to that as we speak. And my fingers are crossed here, my friend. I'm hoping and thinking that we're going to get there. It would be a new record, by the way, of entries at the big annual Spring Classic.
That would be incredible to hit 3,000 cars.
Indeed.
It's mind-boggling. Also, John, you've got more than just cars. You've got some road art, you've got motorcycles, you got tractors coming across the block. Isn't that correct?
Right. That's fairly typical for a Mecum auction. As we've grown over the years now, of course, the world's largest collector vehicle company, that also includes the world's largest, of course, collector cars, antique and vintage motorcycles, and tractors as well, all with their own specific auctions, but also included in the lineup for this big upcoming Spring Classic. And also, we mentioned road art, or you mentioned it, and road art is Mecum's trademark name for memorabilia. And it could be anything from A to Z. It could be gas pumps. It could be neon signs, tin signs, die-cast cars, any type of collector. It could be art, literally anything that would be tied into automotive history, but not an actual vehicle, will also be at this auction in a huge quantity. Interesting that that's almost a separate sort of a subculture outside of the regular collector car world, where you've got people that collect a memorabilia specifically. And there's, of course, also car people that like to get it too. So adds a nice, interesting, historic element to the Mecum auctions. It goes back to Dana Mecum's original vision back in 1988. And it really isn't necessarily all about cars. That's what drives the bus. But it's really about the automotive lifestyle and being able to have something for everyone. We have $5,000 cars, and we've got seven-figure cars, as I talked about earlier. And then items for folks that aren't going to buy a car, there's going to be a lot of choices for them as well. I want to make an invitation to everybody. Go to Mecum.com, MECUM.com, and sign up. It's free. Just look at the homepage and click on the link. Sign up as a Mecum Infonet member, and that will allow you, it's totally free, that will allow you to go in the backside and have extra access, insider access to the Mecum website to look at so much information. It is a car person's paradise to be able to go online and scroll through not only what's coming up on upcoming auctions, but what we have also done in the past. Very entertaining, and probably the best way to put your finger on the pulse of what are the real values not what the guidebook says, not what an opinion is, but what is actually happening in the current marketplace.
Buddy, I do that, and I go there, and I find 3 and 4 hours later, I look up, it's like, oh my gosh, I've spent a whole afternoon on the website. It's just crazy.
Indeed, yeah.
Now, I'm really excited about coming out to Indianapolis, but just in case you don't get to go out to Indy, talk about TV coverage. You're going to be a busy guy, so talk about when you can see it, what channel you're on, and give us all the backstory and specifics on that.
Yeah, this is a big year for us, Steve. The beginning of this year with our Kissimmee, Florida auction, which was another record event, by the way, we formed a new partnership with our network, and that is the folks at MotorTrend Group, both on MotorTrend TV, which is, of course, on cable channels, and the companion MotorTrend Plus, which is their streaming channel. Now, the reason we did that is because our former channel from 2014 through 2021 was NBCSN. Well, NBCSN, as we know now, they went dark. They literally shut down the channel to put priority on their proprietary streaming service called Peacock. So we decided we were going to look for a plan B so that we could remain on cable television. And what a partnership that we formed with the folks at MotorTrend. Our ratings are higher than they've ever been. They have been absolute incredible to work with. And let me tell you what they're doing for us here at Indianapolis. We're going to be live, 24 hours of live coverage beginning Wednesday, May 18th at noon Eastern Time. All of these times are Eastern Time, but it gets better than that. That'll be Wednesday starting on the 18th and go right through identical schedule, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. But here's where it gets really great. If you can't watch it live from 12 until 6, Wednesday through Saturday, don't worry, because at the conclusion of the auction at 6 o'clock every day, they turn around and they re-air it in its entirety back to back. And I'm not done yet. Then they turn it around and they air it back to back again through the wee hours of the morning.
Unbelievable. That's incredible.
That's 18 hours of television coverage every single day, 4 days in a row. And that's thanks to our partnership with the folks at MotorTrend TV and at MotorTrend Plus. And they've got a nice promotion going on now with MotorTrend Plus. You can sign up for free as a trial. You can go to the website and you can get information on how to do that. It's very, very simple to download the app. A lot of great automotive programming. In addition to Mecum, of course, a lot of other great automotive content as well. These folks are hardcore car people, just like we are at Mecum. And I think we're going to have this relationship with the folks at MotorTrend Group for a long, long time.
That's fantastic, buddy. Now, all right, you've gotten us all excited about this. If someone wants to come out and register for the show, where and how can they do that?
Well, there's a couple of different ways they can do it. If you want to just buy a spectator ticket, go to Mecum.com, buy them online, $20 a piece. Kids 12 and under free. Very simple. If you want to register as a bidder, not much more effort than that. Go to Mecum.com, click on the bidder link, and follow the instructions on how to sign up as a bidder. Very, very simple. And if you're thinking about selling a car at the Spring Classic, there are still positions available. Do not hesitate. You can have one of two choices. You can go online, click on the consignment page and fill the form out and email that in, or pick up the telephone and you can call Mecum and ask to talk to a consignment agent. This auction promises to take advantage of the current incredible strength of the collector vehicle market across the boards. And that includes Corvettes, and that includes everything from A to Z. And I would highly encourage somebody, if they're thinking about selling a car and they're thinking about bringing it to Indy, do not hesitate. Get on board, get it consigned, get it wrapped up. Give the vehicle some time yet to linger out there on our website. As we start getting close to the auction seed within 4 or 5 days of the beginning of the auction, that'll be the week of May the 9th, we start getting over 1 million page views per day on people looking at inventory, vehicles of interest coming to the auction. We've got online bidders, we've got phone bidders, and we've got live bidders. And all that information on how to sign up on that can all be found at Mecum.com. It's very easy to do. We keep it very simple.
John, thank you so much for coming back on Corvette Today, getting us all pumped up and excited for the 35th annual Dana Mecum Spring Classic coming up in Indianapolis. Buddy, it's always great to have you on the show.
Oh, man. Same here, Steve. Best wishes and safe Corvette driving to all of our friends out there as we're getting cranked up into the spring driving season.
Thanks for listening to Corvette Today. And please be sure to tell your family, friends, and other Corvette enthusiasts about the Corvette Today podcast. And also thanks to our sponsors, Mid-America Motorworks. Car show season is here. Get your Corvette ready by shopping over 60,000 Corvette-specific parts and accessories at mamotorworks.com. American Hydrocarbon at AmericanHydrocarbon.com, True Wealth and Company at RetireWithTrue.com. Also, Aerolarri Wheels, get $100 off your purchase with the new promo code CT111 at Aerolarri.com. Also, Nova Stretch Bras. Use the code Corvette Today 15 and get 15% off your total purchase at novastretch.com.
You've been listening to Corvette Today with Steve Garrett. If you'd like to contact Steve with any thoughts on the podcast or ideas for guests on Corvette Today, you can email him at stevegarrettdj@gmail.com. That's stevegarrettdj@gmail.com. Garrett has 2 R's and 2 T's. Or connect with Steve on social media on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram using @SteveGarrettDJ. Thanks again for listening to Corvette Today.